and welcome to my 10.1.5 Assassination Rogue Guide. So you want to be another stabby boy? Just continuously killing stuff while you're stabbing? Well, time to poison all your enemies and let them whittle away. So, Assassination is the quintessential dot-based rogue, which is damage over time based. Let's start with the stats. You want to get as much crit as possible due to some of the talents. Crits is one of the ways that we generate additional combo points, and it also helps us getting our energy back through some talents. Secondly, you want mastery. You want as much mastery as you can get, because it's increasing the damage of your poisons and bleeds, which we will have up on our target all of the time. After this, it's kind of dependent on what you do. If you do a lot of raiding, and currently this raid tier is a lot of single target, then you want haste as your third. If you however do a lot of M+, versatility is going to pull ahead, simply due to how our AoE damage works with Crimson Tempest and Indiscriminate Carnage, something we will get into. So to start off of, we are going to be playing the build as Assassination Rogue, where we are using 4 poisons due to this. This is currently the only endgame talent that is worth using as Assassination in raiding. However, in AoE we will pick up Indiscriminate Carnage, which is gonna make us have an easier time keeping bleeds on every target. So now we're talking about crit and stats. The reasons why we want as much crit as we can is because of Seal Fate, which is going to make us generate additional combo points per crit. That's very nice. And Dashing Scoundrel, which makes our Envenom, which is going to be our main finisher, generate energy. So those two are our major ways why we use crit. Our natural energy regen comes from Venomous Wounds. So as you can see, we regain energy every time our Garrote or our Rupture deals bleed damage to a poisoned target. And then second clause, which is very important in AoE, if an enemy dies while we have our Rupture on it, we will gain a burst of energy back. So as for major nodes, we want to take in our class tree is Facility. It's a huge energy gain. And we also get a lot of mastery from it as well. We want an additional combo point. Thirdly, you want Echoing Reprimand. This just makes it so we gain charged combo points. Use a finisher on one of those charged combo points. We will basically do damage as if it was used at 7 combo points. Those 3 are like the main endpoints you want to go for. Currently I'm playing Resounding Clarity. I do still believe that is the better option over Reverberation. For your poisons in the choice node, if you're the first rogue, you want to use Atrophic in raiding and Numbing in AoE or in Mythic Plus. For defensive slayers, we have Evasion. 100% dodge chance, not as useful as you might expect. Cloak of Shadows, this is probably the most broken spell in the game, making us able to nullify or outright just ignore certain mechanics in the game. We also have Feint, which is a 40% damage reduction for a little cost of energy, but gives us a big damage reduction, which we can improve with Elusiveness. However, I venture to say Cheat Death is a very solid option if you don't want to think too much about using your defensives correctly all the time. But there are some arguments for both at least. This is going to be your general go-to. Assassination, although being a damage over time spec, we do actually have a lot of our damage coming from our Envenoms. So basically, it's got just a instant damage hit, but it also gives us our buff, a buff that grants us 30% more chance to apply our weapon poisons. This is then further increased with the effect of amplifying poison, which is just going to add a stack to the target we're hitting, which will then, at 10 stack, we can consume them to increase our envenom damage. We focus on applying our Corrode, Rupture, and then try to get as many envenoms in as we can. It's important to note that we have this thing called elaborate planning, where the longer we can keep this up, the more damage we're just gonna do. Our cooldown as Assassination works slightly differently than most other cooldowns in this game, since it's not a straight damage increase. It is, however, a one target bleed, where we will basically double our Corrodes, our Ruptures, and our Poisons, dealing effectively double our natural damage during this window of 16 seconds. Once again, we have Dragon Tempered Blades, which is our double poisons. We have Poison Bomb, quite a substantial amount of passive damage actually. We also have some execute damage. Doing more damage in the hardest part of the fights is always recommended. Then we have Blindsight, which makes it so we can use our stealth ability Ambush outside of stealth. And this chance is then doubled when the target is in execute range. So as you can see, Assassination is quite an execute heavy spec by design. Now, the other part we're gonna be talking about is gonna be Corrode. Corrode is gonna be one of your most important damage aspects. There is this thing called Improve Corrode. This is gonna be the most important thing to learn to manage as an Assassination rogue, because it's basically making it so Corrode is our most important debuff to keep up. Now, how do we do this when it's only when used from stealth? Well, we're a rogue, so we can start in stealth as a beginning. This is known as true stealth. You also have Vanish, which is again a way to gain true stealth. Outside of this, we have Sepsis. It's a 1.5 minute cooldown, 1.5 minute cooldown, and it's basically another dot. It grants us the use of one stealth ability, and then after the 10 seconds, you can do one more. This is very important to note that we always use Corrode when we have this buff, but it's very important that you don't override and improve Corrode with a normal Corrode, because that's going to be a huge loss of your damage. Unlike the other two specs, we don't have to press Slice and Dice outside of our opener due to cut to the chase. The reason why we keep up Slice and Dice is because it's a 50% attack speed increase. Because we are going to have an attack speed increase, we're going to apply our poisons more often because we're attacking more often. Assassination Rogue is the one rogue spec that has a very strict opener, and basically a very strict every 2 minutes give and take. So you want to open up with a Corrode into a Slice and Dice. Then you build to 5 combo points, get a Rupture, Sepsis, pop Deathmark, T, your Shiv, Echoing Reprimand, Envenom, Corrode, build to an enemy charge combo point, or wherever you end up above 5. Now make sure that you reapply your Corrode before the second timer runs out, and keep Rupture. Now notice that I don't go specifically for the 2-point combo point generation, because for Assassination it doesn't really matter if you hit them or not. If you don't hit them, you just continue and build to what is known as max -1. Now outside of this, now we're just trucking along and just doing our normal rotation. It is important to note, however, if you have an ambush proc and you have an sepsis buff, using the ambush proc will not consume the sepsis proc or buff. But at this point, it's basically just making sure that you're keeping your Corrodes on, keeping your Rupture on, and fill in with envenoms as much as you can. And that is basically all there is to say about the single target rotation. AoE, we change things a little bit. We still have the same base idea where we want to keep on Corrode and we want to keep on Rupture. We still have the same poisons on. However, now we're going to be juggling between Crimson Tempest and Envenoms. The rule of thumb is that you want to try to keep your Envenom poison application buff up as much as possible. Now, thanks to Indiscriminate Carnage, every 45 seconds we can apply our next Corrode and our next Rupture to 8 enemies within 10 yards. But let's say, okay, we go into a pack, you don't have Indiscriminate Carnage up, how do you play this? So, you put up Corrode and your Rupture on one target. Then once you have Corrode again, you do the same to the second target. Now we're starting to get a bit more energy back. And then we go Crimson Tempest, keeping that one up. Now for AoE, our bleed damage is more important than our poison damage. And of course, you do not use your single target Mutilate, you rather use Fan of Knives. Fan of Knives only gives you 1 combo point. However, due to Seal Fate, we can easily reach a point where each Fan of Knives fills our combo point bar, and that's just gonna make our lives a lot easier. And yeah, that's basically how you play Assassination Rogue. See you in the next guide, which is gonna be Outlaw. Bye!